This is part B of the Khudilar campaign, exclusive diagnosis of Fleet Street, world exclusive diagnosis of Fleet Street. This is part B, and this is, of course, Thursday, the day after the events in Washington where they performed the swearing in of Joe Biden. There is a piece in the Daily Mail in which it says Boris Johnson blasts back at Theresa May. Now this is about the moral leadership, the global moral leadership. Now that is global moral leadership. That phrase is attributed to Theresa May, who said reportedly that Boris Johnson, as incumbent in the post of Prime Minister in the UK, had abandoned, as they are quoting John Stevens, deputy political editor, is quoting global moral leadership. Now that's a lie, because the UK never had global moral leadership. Never had. And never could have, while it was pursuing robbery, theft, plunder, murder, massacre in the empires. And the fact that there is no moral leadership global leadership by Britain is exposed in the same issue of the Daily Mail, which, as part of the reports of the first day or first hours of Joe Biden following the swearing in as President 46th President of the USA, they say that one of the first acts he has done is to remove Winston Churchill's little kind of image from the Oval Office and replace it with one of John F. Kennedy. Now that means that Joe Biden is not thinking about global moral leadership being provided by Britain. In fact, he was ditching any claim and ditching and replacing Winston Churchill's image from the Oval Office is the highest symbolic act of denouncing any pretense in the name of the UK or Britain that there was anything to do with global moral leadership by Britain. That little image of Winston Churchill had been there, but was removed by Barack Obama. And when Donald Trump got in, he replaced whatever Barack Obama put in there with an image of Winston Churchill. And now Joe Biden has removed the Winston Churchill image and has replaced it with a likeness of John F. Kennedy. Okay, so here is a piece away from that, not too far away from that, but it's away from that in the Daily Mail, page 34 and 35. It's a headline that is imitating the film Blair Witch Project. This one is calling Blair Witch Project. And the Blair Witch Project is a piece of investigation by their investigative reporter, Richard Pendlebury, about the ex-prime ministers having made millions in some of the shadiest corners of the world. But he's been outdone by his son, Ewan, who is now worth 70 million pounds. And from a football agent to two legal eagles, the rest of the clan aren't doing too badly either. So there is this display of Ewan as entrepreneur, Blair himself as a consultant, and Blair's daughter Catherine as a barrister, and Blair's wife Cherie Booth as a judge and a property magnate, and Blair's son Nicky as a football agent. So for Tony Blair to be kind of featured in the news today, as he has been, and we discussed part of it in part A, as being a source of wisdom about poverty and hunger and people in poverty, is doubly insulting, because anyone with any conscience, any compassion, would not keep any millions. They would give it away. No individual person needs millions. Neither Tony Blair, nor any of his children, nor Vladimir Putin, for that matter. The fact that Tony Blair is in the Reach Project exposes all claims that the Labour Party, when elected to govern this country, delivers justice and fairness and equality and transparency and so on. Because Blair was Blair, we are calling Blair here on this program, but the Kudilar campaign has respelled his name as Blair since 1997. Blair in 1997, we gave him that name a few months after May 1997 when he got in. Now, Blair, we gave him because very early on we noticed the brazen propensities on his part to tell lies and make up stories based on the given particular news of the day, which was seen again that year when Diana was murdered. And Blair called her the people's princess. And Blair sucked up to any source of basking that could be added to his kind of personality. The royal family, the image of Diana, because Diana, of course, until she was murdered, was in terms of the media exposure, the most kind of published about, photographed kind of person for a number of years. And especially so following that interview with Martin Bashir on BBC Panorama. Whatever the background to the lead up to the actual agreement between her and the BBC for her to appear on that program, whatever the details that have been coming out now, more than 25 years or so later, whatever the actual details of the negotiations and the deals and the contracts and whatever, Diana became more kind of useful to the media as an image after that interview. And I noticed, because I was suffering from having to look at the bias and the contents and the frequency of her appearance on the printed Fleet Street. So I told someone I was talking to during a session of sorting out the papers of the day or the month, that Diana was ill-advised to be appearing on so many media slots and spots. And that is nothing to do with any knowledge on my part as to what would happen to her exactly. That happened a few years later, after I said that I was thinking that she was ill-advised and that she was being peddled, promoted, based on the artificiality of the image, rather than any substance of what she was representing. And it is quite clear, and it will remain clear, that her actual kind of relevance or usefulness to the media, to the printed media, and others who exploited and capitalized on her image, was her image, her physique, not about her intellectual commitment or contributions. What she did represent in terms of posing or walking through the mine field on a location in Africa, that was a rare kind of event. And other appearances, including appearances about people with various challenges, disability and other kind of challenges. Those were rarer than the fact that she was drawn to by people with money and people with similar shallow kind of attributes. So if Diana is being kind of referred to by her younger son, Harry, as he is reportedly doing now, then the substance of her contributions must be emphasized, and the evidence of her actual role behind the scenes in doing things that are moral, compassionate, and are really a counter to those who are wealthy, those who are in possession of money, etc., etc. Tony Blair has actually become an industry, not only as an individual ex-occupant of the post of prime minister, who has been selling himself to some of the world's most brazen criminals, mass murderers, in return for their shillings, which constitute his millions, and all the other things that are associated with Blair post departure from power are in the same sector of immorality, criminality, denial, mass murder, massacres. And this is before Blair's role in the mass murders of the Arabs, Iraqis, Afghanis, and others are taken into account. So the Labour Party, which was founded with the aims of liberating people from poverty and establishing a sort of social democracy, that Labour Party has been crushed by the likes of Tony Blair. And the Labour Party, that the so-called left side or left wing of the party claim to represent, is not possible, is not capable of being established as the credible party of ordinary government in Britain, not because the ideas are not credible, not because the society doesn't need such a credible alternative, but because the people involved, the people who get involved as elected and electable members of parliament, and their counterparts on the local areas as councillors, do not have the intellectual, moral, ethical fitness to constitute a party that actually can be represented to the whole electorate or the majority of the electorate as fit for governance by following those principles. So there is this diagnosis, and the Fleet Street Papers are, of course, all of those are hostile to the founding principles of the main original founding principles and values of the Labour Party. And so therefore the Labour Party has never received intellectually the backing and the support from Fleet Street. So we just treated the Labour Party essentially as the alien party, not the natural party of government. So by default, the Conservatives have been treated. They are not expressly the natural party of government, but they have been treated by default as the natural party of government. Now this gap, this big breach, has not been even recognized by the overwhelming majority of the collections of the PLPs, that is to say the parliamentary Labour Party members, who are the members of the parliament from the various constituencies, and together they are referred to as the Parliamentary Labour Party. Now, despite the fact that Jeremy Corbyn, the last one as leader of the Labour Party, has been and is continuing to be promoted by the people who post items in support of him on the social media, being promoted as the best socialist kind of leader the Labour Party ever had. That is the case. That is the fact that they do say that, do make that claim, and they do make that claim every single day, 24 hours. And we shall be talking about that and the other things in the next part.